unboxing. Got a little package there. We got this mammoth of a filter right here. Yes. This, not sure what this is. This might be the stopper for removing the sound tube or something like that. Not really sure. Yeah, part of the housing. Part of the housing there. And then we got the actual elbow. Got the coolant reservoir relocator. Scoot that over a little bit, and the piece that makes this one different is the mass airflow sensor that comes with this. It's calibrated a little different from the stock version, so it should prevent any codes from being thrown on the engine. So got this bad boy in yesterday actually, so I'll check out the instructions ahead of time. We'll get this thing rolling so we can get it installed on the 2015 GT this weekend. Alright, so today we're going to do the install for the PMAS cold air intake no tune version. Just doing a quick check. Everything looks good. Pop the hinge here. Everything in the garage. Do this one-handed is a little difficult, but we got it. It's a little dusty in the way. But we're going to replace this with PMAS stuff we got in this box. I'll try and take screenshots or video as I go, and we'll make sure you see what's going on. So everything comes labeled, instructions and whatnot, pictures for everything. This should be a relatively easy install. So I'm just going to take time, gather the tools I need here for the job, and then we're going to follow this thing step by step. And get this new intake installed. Alright, we need to pull off the cover, which we've already done. Unplug the mass airflow sensor. And that is this deal here. The mass air sensor. Pull off this red tab, which I think got that. Boom, good. Little sensor pulled. Next thing we're going to do is remove the idle bypass hose, the evap vent hose, PCV hose, and this ugly sound tube thing. So I'm just going to use a couple pliers, pinch these, pull that off. I believe something similar here for the others. We'll move on to the next step. These are really easy to remove, so again, just squeeze these clamps here, and then for the other tubes, you just rotate these things around. Man, it's dusty. Probably should have sprayed this off, but oh well. We're gonna get this out. So basically, you just push here, pull, and it unlocks like that. Do the same thing on this one. That one out the way. And then it looks like this one has a couple clips right there. So I'm going to get those tubes off, front sides off, sound tubes off. So next we are going to unloosen this band right here around the throttle body, and then that should allow me to pull this entire piece off. I will probably have to open the factory box here, just for some flexibility. Let's see what's down there. That's ready to come off. And again, just gonna take care of that, where'd it go? Take care of this screw right here, which holds down this band. So we got the intake out of there, or at least the tube. Now I just need to remove this bad boy here. Just gonna undo these bolts. I believe this is a 10mm bolt holding it down here. And I'll check the directions, not sure there's one somewhere else, but it should be relatively easy. Okay. Box is next. Tube off, sitting over there in the corner. I actually just used, I think, a 7mm on that band clamp. Directions say you can use a flat blade screwdriver, but I figured since I had my socket set right here, I just used that. So now the next piece we're gonna do is remove this box. So just gonna take this and undo the air assembly there. We'll need to retain a couple things for the PMAS system, and we'll make sure we keep those. Now, step 6, we're going to install the heat shield, put it in place of the old factory system there. Still undecided if I want to remove that sound tube, but we'll figure it out in just a little bit. But gonna drop this in there. Might be a little difficult to do one-handed, so might just come back and show you after it's sitting in there. Real quick update. My box is a little different than the heat shield's a little different than the ones I saw online, watching a couple YouTube tutorials. Looks like some of them have you retain the rubber mount that goes here to go in between that and that hole there. I pulled out the mount. I'm gonna have to squeeze it in there, see if it works. I think it still should. But then also there's this little doodad right here, and it looks like that goes in that hole there. Might be a snug fit, so I'm gonna really have to play around with this one, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So in this one, I put the rubber grommet between these pieces here, and then for this piece here, it is supposed to go up flush against the piece here, or the I guess this is the inner wheel well here. It was easier for me to completely pull this bolt out, and then that just left a little black boot part. So that really just gave me the black boot to put in first. So I inserted that black boot in. Then once it was seated in there, then I just came over the top with the entire heat shield, put the bolt in there, so now we're good to go. Everything's solid. So next step from here is to adjust the coolant reservoir. Got some hardware on the inside. Basically, we're going to put a bar here, and it's going to scoot it over a couple inches, because if you see here, and what's the straightest thing I think here, basically, you look at that, the new elbow is going to hit the coolant reservoir, so we're going to move it over just a little bit. Basically, going to undo these two bolts, put a couple things in, put the new bracket in place here, bolt this to the bracket, and it's going to scoot it down. Undid the two bolts that undid the 2 bolts that were holding down the coolant reservoir. So again, this bar is going to go in place, and it's basically just going to scoot this piece over a few inches at most, but that'll give it enough room to clear the big elbow housing that's going to go in place there. So just going to tighten down these 2 right here to the coolant reservoir, and then mount it to this frame. Mount it to this frame here. Coolant reservoir is done. So dropped in the elbow, tightened up that V-band clamp around the intake throttle body there, so that's good to go. Dropped in the filter, tightened up this V-band, or I'm sorry, this band clamp. We call them V-bands. Band clamp around the air intake. Now just installing the mass airflow sensor. This is the one that's recalibrated for no tune installation. I'll get that done. Then I'll put all the connectors back together. Got one down there that needs to go together, and then we should be good to go. And just like that, you're done. Last thing I'm going to do is just block off that sound tube right there. That's actually coming out of there. I just need to go get a open wrench to get the final bolt out. But other than that, everything's tightened down. We're looking good on that intake throttle body there. Good and tight here. All the connections back. The reservoir tank is good. Alright, so we'll just start it up, let it idle for 30 seconds, and call it good. So we'll get it started. Okay. Sounds different, it's awesome. That's it. Installing the PMAS air intake.